Sophia Simpson.
Big start for Sophia Simpson here. Not a stranger, though, to facing against top competition. Had a strong outing against UCLA earlier this year. Coach White going to give her the nod. Look for her to control all 4 quadrants of the zone and use that devastating changeup she has.
Tiare Jennings leading off for the Sooners, who come in hitting .384 as a team, averaging nearly 10 runs per game this season, but again held to just 3 hits last night.
3 hits. On a normal day, a pitcher is extremely excited about that. You have to imagine Haley Dolcini was wondering how she could have made 2 of those just a little bit better for them to stay in the park, keep the game even a little bit closer for Texas. But nonetheless, Texas executed a good game plan.
Jennings swing and a miss. She went 0 for 4 last night. You mentioned Sophia Simpson facing some top competition this year. Earlier in the season, the freshman Simpson held UCLA to 2 earned runs in 5 innings, shutting them out over the final 4 frames.
Sophia Simpson, a competitor. Coach White likes the way she competes. Struggled a little lately with the zone,
but starts off with a K.
A great start right there by Sophia Simpson. Using her drop ball to get Tiare Jennings chasing for strike 2, then extends off the plate here for strike 3. Big out right there to start this game for Texas, get them some momentum. More importantly, Alex, big strikeout without having to use her best pitch.
Speaking of strikeouts, it was stunning to see Jocelyn Alo strike out twice last night, especially after going 7 straight games before that without striking out once. Fouls one off.
Haley Dolcini did a good job of setting Jocelyn Alo up last night. Started her in her first at-bat high, stretched the zone with that rise ball. Second at-bat did the opposite, went right at Alo in the strike zone, froze her on a screwball. But you have to imagine the competitor Alo is. She's coming in tonight looking for pitches in the zone, going to make sure she can get the most out of her swings.
Oklahoma 37-0 on the year, 7-0 in conference play. Texas 30-11-1. Sooners with 102 home runs, and Alo sitting on 109 for her career. Launches one foul. Mike White has talked about shaking off the first inning blues. In 4 of the last 5 games, his starting pitchers have given up at least 1 run in the first inning.
And last night it actually looked like they might shake that off. However, an error by Mia Scott, and then couple that with a hit up the middle with 2 outs, allowed OU to get that first run. But still a fairly strong start by Dolcini. And so far right now, Sophia Simpson setting the tone.
Simpson coming off a few rocky performances as of late in her last 2 appearances. 7 earned runs allowed in 7 1/3 innings. Got her game face on tonight. 1-2 on the way to Alo. And how about that? Alo strikes out for the 3rd time in this series.
Texas doing a good job of not giving Alo anything close to hit. Sophia Simpson uses this rise ball. Jocelyn Alo unable to lay off as she tries to hold her swing back. Again, impressive start so far by Sophia Simpson.
I'll say against the #1 offense in the nation, one of the greatest offenses in recent history. 2 straight strikeouts. Here's Grace Lyons, who drove in the first run of the game last night with an RBI single.
You know, Alex, you talk about the struggle Sophia Simpson has had as of lately, and we got to call a no-hitter she threw against UTSA early in the season. We haven't seen that swagger since that no-hitter. This is the first time I feel like we've seen her actually have that swagger back in the circle, and it could pay dividends for the Longhorns tonight.
Watching her in the bullpen before the contest, you could just tell, you can get a vibe whether a player is locked in or not. You could see it with Mike White standing right behind her. She was in his zone and starting off strong here against an offense that is putting up astronomical numbers right now. to say the least.
Talk about the look Sophia Simpson had, Coach White in the bullpen with her, having a lot of conversation about where they want to locate things, probably how they're going to attack each hitter. A lot of times as a pitcher gets older in their career, they know those things, but Coach White in the bullpen equipping Sophia Simpson with that thought process early prior to the game today.
And what a start for the freshman Sophia Simpson. Oklahoma going with the sophomore in the circle tonight. Nicole May getting the start, the right-hander from California.
Yeah, the sophomore, she's the offsetter of this staff. The other two throw significantly hard up in the zone. Nicole May will stay down in the zone, 62 to 64, mix some speeds, keep hitters off balance. Coach Gasso very high on Nicole May, though. She said last year she came in some crucial situations and saved us. She knows that she has the backbone to be able to carry the big moments, giving her the nod in game 2 tonight.
Janae Jefferson leading things off for an offense that comes into the game hitting .317 on the year, sends this one down the line and left, but foul. Jefferson, top 10 in the nation in hits, 6 away from tying the all-time Big 12 record. Gave that one a ride, but it's a long strike. Interesting that Oklahoma going with May getting the start as opposed to Hope Troutwine, who is leading the nation in ERA.
And you have to imagine Coach Patty Gasso just weighing the odds, seeing what each pitcher has done against Texas in the past. Jordy Ball, obviously a freshman, never having faced Texas, but knowing that Texas and North Texas, where Troutwine transferred from, play each other every year, so Texas really familiar with Troutwine.
And Janae Jefferson starts off with a strikeout. Player who rarely strikes out. Came last night and starts off with a strikeout this evening.
Nicole May using that off-speed pitch down in the zone. Jefferson just checking her swing, did in fact cross the plate though. Correct call there by third base umpire Keith Kearney.
Here's Mia Scott back up the middle. Jennings is there and quickly 2 away. Nicole May came into this game riding a 21-inning scoreless streak and just named the Big 12 Pitcher of the Week after combining on a no-hitter and pitching a shutout as well. All 3 starters for Oklahoma with an ERA sub-1 on the season. There's Mackenzie Parker.
And Nicole May is not going to be flashy. You're not going to see a lot of big strikeouts. She's not going to strut on the mound the way Jordy Ball was owning the field last night. But she's going to come in quietly doing her job, spinning. We saw the off-speed to Janae Jefferson. Get Texas looking in different directions. And that's going to be her asset, is the fact you cannot pinpoint one part of the zone when you're facing Nicole May.
She had success against Texas last year, did May, in the series finale. Through 4 1/3 shutout innings, striking out 4 and walking 1 against Texas. (1-1) on the way to Parker. Mackenzie Parker trying to snap out of an 0 for 11 slump. Hitless in her last 4 games.
Mackenzie Parker was riding a high for a while. Having to work her way through it. I think a lot of times mental, emotional energy gets high, especially when you're getting on base and coming through as much as she was. And then you have to start to deal with kind of the roller coaster that happens in a softball season. So as you come down off that high, being able to work through it quicker to where that slump doesn't necessarily fall as far as it possibly could.
2-2 with 2 away. Texas actually out-hit Oklahoma last night 4-3, but could not put a run on the scoreboard. The Sooners have now tossed 6 straight shutouts. They're working on 36 consecutive innings without giving up a run.
We talk about Texas out hitting Oklahoma last night. Texas was the only ball club of the two that actually strung together consecutive hits. Janae Jefferson and Mia Scott had back-to-back hits in the bottom of the 6th, but even Oklahoma, there was no point where back-to-back hitters were successful in getting on base.
Oklahoma 22 shutouts on the season, but as we said, over the last 7 games now, it's just been on fire. Nearly 35 innings, 48 strikeouts, just 10 walks, and 0 earned runs. Payoff pitch. She did not go around, and Texas has a base runner aboard here in the first inning.
Nicole May using this changeup early and often again. Mackenzie Parker does hold back this time. You see Kinsey Hansen and Nicole May both wanting it, but the barrel of the bat does in fact stay behind home plate. Texas has their first base runner of the game.
Here is the cleanup hitter, Mary Iacopo, who has reached in 14 straight games. Was hit by a pitch last night, came up in a big spot late in this game in the 6th inning, representing the tying run, but was unable to drive in a run. 35 RBIs on the season for the senior, and it's 1-1. Texas on the season 4-8 against ranked teams according to the ESPN rankings. 15th in the RPI, and the 36th toughest strength of schedule coming into this one, and that number will only go up after this series. We'll head to Stillwater next weekend to face Oklahoma State. There's called strike 2.
May using her rise ball right there. That's probably as top of the zone as you're going to get called. A lot of times that's even a little bit high for an umpire to call.
Iacopo over to third. Johns handles that one easily, and the inning comes to an end. She'll face the 4, 5, and 6 hitters Coleman, Hansen, and Snow here in the 2nd. What did you see out of Simpson in that first inning, Kat?
The difference in Simpson tonight from what we've seen lately in season out of her is the fact that she came in able to throw her hard stuff in the zone. She got calls, she got swings and misses, then was able to use her changeup to complement that instead of having to constantly rely on her changeup, not to mention just the energy she brought. Anytime a pitcher can start a game off with that type of focus and energy, as well as the success and the strikeouts, it's going to give your team some momentum and obviously something to start the game with.
Has certainly had her moments this year through the 52nd no-hitter in Texas history against UTSA. And again, held UCLA to just 2 earned runs on the night. There is strike 1 to Jada Coleman. Simpson, the Texas Gatorade Player of the Year, 21-0. Her final year of high school ball with an ERA of .18, 3 earned runs allowed all year in her final season. Coming out of Mont Bellevue, the 2-1 on the way, and now she falls behind 3-1. I would imagine the adrenaline is pumping out there for the freshman.
Well, yeah, you have to know that when you decide to come to Texas or even Oklahoma, this is a matchup that you live for. Texas OU, no matter the sport, is such a tremendous rivalry. So anytime you get to be on the field for that, the adrenaline pumps just a little bit harder as the emotions are going.
And a leadoff walk earned by Jada Coleman.
Number 9, Kinsey Hansen.
Here comes Kinsey Hansen, the second-team All-American who went 0 for 3 last night. has not had a lot of success historically against Texas. 1 for 9 against the Longhorns last year. But as you put it last night, a physical specimen for the Sooners.
Sophia Simpson losing command of her hard pitches right now, not able to attack the strike zone with her curve screw drop. We saw Jada Coleman lay off the rise. She can't shy away from attacking the strike zone against Oklahoma right now.
And if there is anybody who's going to run on this Oklahoma team, it's the runner on first, Jada Coleman. 10 stolen bases. No one else on the squad has more than 6. All of a sudden, Simpson falling behind the first 2 batters in this inning. What's changed?
Looks like she's trying to almost be too fine with her hard pitches. In the beginning of the game, she was just attacking the zone. We saw Tiara Jennings get overly aggressive because Sophia Simpson threw strike 1. Simpson gonna have to attack the zone. If OU fouls the ball off, take it as a strike, go to the next pitch. But you cannot give this offense free bases.
Hansen demolishes one foul. Kinsey Hansen injured a few weeks ago. Suffered a bone bruise in her knee, missed the Hawaii series. Starting to get back into a rhythm. Had homered in 2 straight games entering this series before going hitless last night.
Yeah, Kinsey Hansen only batting 167 in Big 12 play. 3 hits, but 2 of those have left the yard. And again, that just talks about the power of Oklahoma. As we mentioned last night, 3 hits, 2 left the yard. They're just truly able to get barrel to ball and really be able to make things more things happen on one swing of the bat than most offensives can.
Dangerous count here for Sophia Simpson as Patty Gasso looks on, the 5-time national champion. 3 of those coming in the last 5 postseasons. Hitters count. And we go full.
There's that changeup by Sophia Simpson, pitch she's going to need to continue to use. But first and second inning, it's 2 different tales. First inning, 12 pitches, 10 strikes. This inning so far, 11 pitches and only 8 strikes.
Kind of been the story of her season so far, up and down.
It has. She's going to have to learn consistency as she continues playing here at Texas. But you get that a lot just by being thrown into the fire.
Hansen drills one, foul again, the wind blowing out in that direction. Again, Oklahoma with 102 home runs on the year, on pace to at least match, if not break, the record that they set a year ago. Last night was their 27th multi-home run game. Just all the statistics unreal. 47 solo homers. Yeah, they've only given up 27 total runs on the year. That one caught Hansen. And Oklahoma in business here to begin the second inning.
96 and playing first base, number 5, Kaylin Snow.
Simpson going up and in. That ball gets bottom hand of Kinsey Hansen.
And with that, Mike White is going to head out to the circle. Kind of a night and day inning compared to the first frame when Simpson struck out the side. Walks Coleman here to begin the second, hits Hansen. And you will have another dangerous hitter hitting well above 400 coming up in Taylon Snow. Mike White, 143 victories with the Longhorns, 578 for his career. What do you think the words of wisdom are right now to the freshman?
He's probably talking to her about, hey, what pitch are we going to go with to get strike 1? Then after that, we can go ahead and start to stretch the zone. But I need you to be able to attack with strike 1, so where, oh, you can't just sit changeup all the time. Probably reminding her too, hey, your first inning was strong. Let's go back to that mindset, that feeling. Let's try to recreate it. But settling her down a little bit. and just making a game plan that she can go ahead and execute here with pitch 1 against Snow.
Mike White having a quick chat with the home plate umpire, Dustin Douglas, before retreating to the dugout. Taylon Snow coming up to bat, the redshirt senior, former transfer from Auburn, hitting .444 on the year and .462 with runners in scoring position. Coleman on second, Hanson on first. Bunts one right into the glove of Scott. The quick throw home. Jefferson pulls that one in. And quickly, Texas gets out number 1 in the second.
OU trying to use a little small ball. Taylon Snow going with a slap. Mia Scott being quick. Trying to double up Hanson at first. Risky throw there, especially with Janae Jefferson not being there early. But again, she couldn't be there early, but Texas getting the first important out.
Oklahoma testing the Texas defense that committed 4 errors last night, 1 by Scott, but she was up to the challenge there. Here's Jana Johns. Second year with the Sooners after spending her first 3 with South Carolina, was an all-SEC third baseman. But sees that one catch the strike zone from Simpson. Johns hitting .304 on the year. 0 for 2 last night with a walk. Icopa with a quick throw, and that one goes into right field. Coleman flying around third. And Kat, we have seen that way too often this year. 1-0 Oklahoma.
This is a risky play when you have speed on second base. No matter what, any offset throw, especially with your defense as far back as they are because of OU's power, just a risky play, especially when your pitcher has 0-2. She's starting to feel herself in the circle. Texas cannot give OU extra bases and runs in this contest.
Longhorns' 54th error of the season, their 5th of the series. Well, Simpson does follow up with a strikeout. Number 4 on the night, but again, the Sooners grabbing the early lead. And Simpson not out of the woods yet. Another dangerous hitter coming up in Riley Boone.
Oh, and the other part of that is J.J. Smith starting at first base today. We've seen her there a few times, but not an everyday first baseman for Texas. So another risky play and decision by Mary Iacoppo, just in the fact you don't have an everyday first baseman over there.
Texas now with 18 errors in their last 9 games. There is Riley Boone hitting .463 on the year. And nearly .480 with runners in scoring position. Hanson over at second. This one back to Jefferson. And the inning comes to an end, but out of this ballpark.
Yeah, if you're Texas and the coaching staff, the conversation is the fact that you know OU is going to put up runs, so you don't need to help contribute to that. So making sure that decision-making is wise in the right situations. You know, we were talking off air, Alex. Picking off
Washington pops one up.
Picking off at first might be a good idea when you have Jocelyn Allo, Grace Lyons, Jada Coleman up, and you're struggling to find the strike zone. But Sophia Simpson had just settled down, had Jana Johns 0-2. You got the first big out of Taylon Snow. Let her settle in and see if she can get herself out of that inning. You don't necessarily need to help her get out of the inning right there and make a risky decision.
And that now means this is the 5th time in the last 6 games Texas has fallen behind. That is a continuing theme and Mike White continues to address publicly and privately. But it continues to happen. Here's Courtney Day after Washington popped up. Nicole May has now extended her scoreless streak just over 22 innings. Again, the reigning Big 12 pitcher of the week. That is a player who gets overlooked with the heroics of the freshman Jordy Ball. You have Hope Troutwine, the transfer from North Texas, who's only allowed 1 earned run on the year, leading the nation in the ERA. But Nicole May, another strong starter to say the least, 11-0 on the year.
She get overlooked, one, with the numbers that Jordy Ball puts up and the reputation Hope Troutwine has. But again, we talk about she's just not flashy.
Courtney Day to left field. Brito, 2 away.
So you don't see a ton of strikeout numbers and, you know, a big speed differential. Nicole May just goes out there and does her job and does it well. And I think the biggest thing is if you're a young pitcher, you can watch Nicole May and see how dominant she is without striking out 15 a game. She goes in and does her job, does it quietly, does an amazing job at it. But it doesn't always have to be about strikeouts and seeing rise balls over hitters' heads. It's about controlling the zone, changing speeds, and being effective.
And again, historically has had success against the Longhorns as J.J. Smith fouls one off. Smith getting the start in place of Katie Simmons. And J.J. Smith coming off her best game of the season offensively against UT Arlington. Went 2 for 2, 2 doubles. Started one game before that in the Iowa State series. Hoping to provide Texas with some offense here. Neither team has a hit yet, by the way, even though Oklahoma leads 1-0. Smith throws one to deep right field, and we are tied at 1. The energetic sophomore brings some life back to this stadium, launching a blast to right field.
There are times that you give in to a hunch, and Coach White starting J.J. Smith tonight. This changeup hangs up in the air, but Smith knows it off the bat. The sophomore has tied this game at 1 apiece. Texas fans getting excited as the offense starts to come to life.
That is her first home run of the season for Nicole May. That's just the second home run she has allowed. And the J.J. Smith clan.
You see Mom crying.
Papa and Mom thrilled. Again, first home run of the season coming against the #1 team in the nation for the Sooners. That is only the 6th homer they've allowed all year. And the shutout streak is over, by the way, as well.
You talk about it, Alex, talking about the best game she had against UT Arlington last Wednesday. But her start against Iowa State, she had 2 key walks in that as well. So her at-bats have just started to be quality. And as you get quality at-bats piled up, eventually it's going to pay off in dividends, and it has so far tonight.
Here is Bella Dayton, 0 for 2 with a walk last night. Transfer from Arizona, who's driven in 10 runs over her last 9 games.
That's the first home runs those right field bleachers have seen, I think.
Just in time. They were put in place for the Iowa State series recently. And it's packed out there.
It is a pretty cool atmosphere out there with a little tailgate, some fun for the kids, food.
You can see the emotion on the face of J.J. Smith's dad and mom. #1 on the year. What a moment.
So cool to see parents' reactions. So many hours that parents spend with their athletes, being able to hone their skills. Really cool to see that pay off.
This Texas team continues to hang right with the undefeated Sooners. They out-hit them last night, out-hitting them again this evening. Time is called. Smith, she's known for being a doubles machine, 13 career doubles, not an everyday starter. But leaving the yard moments ago, Dayton. Coleman is there. Sophia Simpson, meanwhile, 4 strikeouts through the first 2 innings. Facing Alyssa Brito in the 9th spot to lead off the 3rd. By the way, on the 16th anniversary to the day of your no-hitter against Oklahoma, Cat, you were the 3rd to last person to ever no-hit the Sooners.
That was back in 2006. That's a long time since they've been no-hit. But again, you tip your hat to the offensive juggernaut that Coach Gasso's created there in Oklahoma. But yeah, that was my last career game against Oklahoma. Also the last career no-hitter I threw.
What do you remember about that game?
It was one hit by pitch shy of a perfect game, and I hit Narelle Dixon in the knee.
You haven't let that go.
Yeah. I haven't let it go. It was a backdoor curve, and it hit her in the knee.
And by the way, Sophia Simpson is well aware of your records. Grew up a huge Texas fan. I know she's been in touch with you over the years.
Yeah.
Threw the no-hitter earlier this year. Obviously still has a ways to go. But she grew up a huge Cat Osterman fan as well.
Yeah, been fortunate to be able to be around Sophia Simpson in her club career. After I stepped down at Texas State, took a job as the pitching director for the Texas Bombers that are headquartered out of New Braunfels. Sophia Simpson, Mia Scott, J.J. Smith actually all played for them, but been able to be around her. And
this one smashed to center field, and Alyssa Brito has done it again. Her 2nd home run of the series puts the Sooners back in front. So Oklahoma only has 4 hits in this series, and 3 of them are home runs.
if there's something that OU does well, it's respond. Sophia Simpson leaves this ball right down the heart of the plate. You cannot do that against this offense. Alyssa Brito makes her pay with a shot to dead center. Alyssa Popelka given chase, but that was out of the park quickly. As a pitcher, though, when your team comes back, ties the game the way J.J. Smith did, you have to go out with the energy that you're going to keep this close, and misses like that cannot happen in contests like this.
That is being efficient at the plate. 3 of your 4 hits leaving the yard. Back up to the top of the order we go. Tiare Jennings struck out in the first inning. Homered in 3 straight games entering this series, but now 0 for 5 in the first 2 games.
To me, Alex, the impressive part of OU, and yes, their numbers are phenomenal, but they don't just sit for pitches. They don't just have a plan of outside. They're hunting for a pitch, and if you miss, they're going to make you pay. And that's you totally tell in the fact that 4 hits, 3 of them have left the yard.
103 home runs on the season. Jennings flies out there to Popelka. Here comes Jocelyn Alo. You talk about a home run hitter, and Alo had gone 11 of her previous 12 games heading into this series without a single strikeout. But all of a sudden she has struck out 3 times here in the first 2 games combined. What is Texas seeing right now when she comes up to the plate?
Well, I think the biggest thing Texas is doing is a good job of getting ahead and then stretching the zone, allowing her to get herself out right now. We saw Haley Dolcini and Sophia Simpson, the first at bat of this game, stretch vertically. And Jocelyn Alo allowing herself to get behind in the count, then trying to hit everything. Good hitters can hit everything. They don't have to hit everything. But Jocelyn Alo just a little out of her timing right now.
Sitting on 21 home runs this year, leading the nation. Went yard once against Texas last season in 3 games. And Simpson's ahead 0-2. And Oklahoma came into this series averaging 9.8 runs per game. The offense has been somewhat limited through the first 2 contests, but it's been good enough to give them a win last night and the lead here in the 3rd inning of game 2. 0-2 on the way from the freshman Simpson.
It's a good challenge pitch right there by Sophia Simpson, going down and in to Jocelyn Alo, seeing if she can bait her to chase out of the zone down. The key is if you're going to stretch up in the zone, you have to get far enough out of the zone, because Jocelyn Alo knows she also can stay up through high pitches.
Alo mashes one foul.
Alo out in front of that changeup offered by Sophia Simpson. I'd like to see Sophia Simpson be able to stair step that, purposely short hop it in the dirt, see if you can get OU to chase some out of the zone. They're going to start sitting it at some point in this game.
Count goes to 2-2. Simpson has only given up one hit so far. That home run moments ago to Brito. Packed house here in Austin. Iacopo makes the grab for out number 2, and Alo is retired again. First 2 batters in the Oklahoma lineup 0 for 4 combined tonight. Meanwhile, here is Grace Lyons. She was a strikeout victim to end the first inning. Lyons 5 hits against the Longhorns last year. 1 so far in this series. Lyons, the Big 12 Player of the Week. For the previous 7 days heading into this series at 604 home runs and just having a career year at the plate, 17 homers, when she had hit 27 in her first 3 years combined. Over to Washington. And the inning comes to an end. Longhorns with 4 combined runs in the last 5 meetings total. But I tell you what, after getting run ruled in every game last year against the Sooners, the Longhorns hanging right with Oklahoma so far through the first 2 games of this one. Here's Alyssa Popelka leading off the third.
We've seen Texas remain competitive in games throughout the season, Alex. And, you know, we talk about, yes, Oklahoma's #1. They're dominating everybody. But in a series like this, that's a big rivalry, both sides are going to get up for it. So not surprising to be able to see Texas competitive in the series. Coach Gasso mentioned in her interview yesterday, she said, I don't know what everyone else expected, but I expected to come in here and play 7 innings. So she knew what Texas was bringing. But so far tonight, there's energy on both sides.
Well, last night was only the 7th 7-inning game of the season for Oklahoma. 30 run rule wins.
Yeah, and we talk about that, Alex. You talk about the dominance of Oklahoma's pitching staff, but then you factor in the run rule victories. That's 60 extra innings that their pitchers are not getting throughout the season. And when you talk about leading the country in stats and things like that, at some point there's an inning minimum you have to meet, and when you take 60 pitches or 60 innings away from a pitching staff, that's right under 10 or 9 or 10 games.
Nicole May, meanwhile, started off the count 3-0 to Popelka. Follows up with strike 1. OU's pitching staff, the offense gets all the headlines, but it is the pitching that has been absolutely unreal this season. 6 no-hitters, tying a program record. And a leadoff walker by Popelka, so all of a sudden 2 of the last 3 batters have reached against Nicole May, and we go back up to the top of the order.
That's a big walk for Texas right there. Popelka has speed, and when you have Janae Jefferson and Mia Scott coming up to bat, who both can do multiple things with the bat, you're talking short game, you're talking some power, not to mention the 3 of them just running bases behind each other. Texas could get something going.
Here's Janae Jefferson. Popelka, plenty of speed over at first. By the way, there is action in the Oklahoma bullpen. Hope Troutwine warming up. Number 7, the nation's leader in ERA, just in case she is needed. We were wondering whether she was going to start this contest. She did not. Macy McAdoo also beside her in the bullpen. Jefferson sends one to left field. Brito looks up, and that one is off the top of the wall. Popelka heading into third and dives in safely. Texas with 2 in scoring position. Now keep in mind the original ruling we've been told is that she was out. So there has to be enough to overturn that. Do you see conclusive evidence of that?
I think it's fairly conclusive. Just the angle of everything. So Johns is catching the ball right here. Now comes back, but Popelka's cleat is already past her.
Umpires say Popelka is out at third. Big call in this tight 1-run contest.
That's a big call. I'm not so sure. I don't think there's evidence that there's a tag right there, but at the same time, it has to be conclusive enough that they can overturn it. It's a big momentum killer right there for Texas, as they could be threatening with 2 runners in scoring position.
Patty Gasso will talk over the situation. Well, now 3 of the last 4 Texas batters have reached against May, and we are going to have a new pitcher in the circle taking over. ERA Hope Troutwine, who has allowed 1 earned run all season in just over 59 innings.
Hope Troutwine, the super senior transfer from the University of North Texas. She's going to throw some upspin, rise ball, curve ball. She'll throw in the upper 60s. Coach Gasso talking about how pleased she's been with Troutwine and her progression of figuring out how to be a pitcher and not just a thrower since coming over to the Sooners roster.
And by the way, grew up nearby in Pflugerville. Familiar with the Longhorns, watching them, and has played against them a number of times. Texas has some pretty decent numbers against her. 6 runs in 13 2/3, but there is a big swing and a miss from the freshman Scott.
Yeah, Scott having a great freshman campaign, playing like a veteran most days, but going to have to harness in the emotions right now in this situation with Janae Jefferson on second, trying to keep it simple.
Chopped over the head of Troutwine. Jennings on to first, and they get out number 2 as Jefferson advances to third. Two away now from Mackenzie Parker. Troutwine, the back-to-back Conference USA Pitcher of the Year with North Texas, nearly 800 career strikeouts. But wanted to move on, headed over to Norman, and Patty Gasso said she has certainly learned the finer points of not just being a terrific thrower, but a pitcher, and her numbers back that up on the season. Over 100 strikeouts, just 17 walks, and again, 1 earned run on the year.
Coach Gasso talking about how Troutwine and Coach Rocha have really worked on being able to have a little bit more pinpoint control, use locations to set things up a little bit differently, but Troutwine really buying into that and learning how to elevate her game.
1-1 to Parker.
Yeah, the other piece that Coach Gasso talked about with Troutwine was just how much she was throwing in practice at North Texas, and how Troutwine wasn't necessarily the healthiest, and transferring over to OU, being able to use that fall season to kind of get healthy, throw a little bit less but more effectively, and then allowing herself to have such a great senior season.
10-0 on the year. Again, coming into this one, had thrown 13 2/3 in her career against the Longhorns, giving up 6 runs as Parker fouls one off. Mackenzie Parker about a week and a half removed from seeing her 22-game streak of reaching base safely come to an end. Looking for her first hit since then. The 2-2 with 2 away.
Parker showing some discipline. Going to have to force Troutwine to stay down in the zone, and that's what the adjustment Texas is going to have to make against Troutwine. We saw them last night chase Jordy Ball up in the zone. Jordy Ball touching 70, Troutwine high 60s right now, but Texas really going to have to simplify it and keep OU's pitching down in the zone.
A lot of patience shown at the plate today by Parker, her second walk of the contest, and here comes Mary Iacopo in a crucial spot. Runners on the corners, down by 1 with 2 away. Iacopo came up in a big spot last night with 2 on, trying to break through here in the 3rd.
This is a huge spot for Mary Iacopo. Pressure situations haven't phased her a ton this season. Really been able to be that clutch hitter for Texas when they need her. No bigger time than right now against #1 Oklahoma, and to be honest, Alex, to make up for the run that was allowed in the 2nd inning.
She's been terrific with runners in scoring position this year, batting .419. Historically, one of the best hitters in Texas history, top 5 all time in home runs and RBIs. Iacopo right into the glove of Johns. Back in Austin, a packed house here at McCombs Field. At a tight ballgame, 1-run affair between the Sooners and the Longhorns. We're now joined by Oklahoma head coach Patty Gasso. Coach, you decided to go to the bullpen and put in Troutwine moments ago. What went into that decision?
I just think we needed to change a little bit of speed, a different look. I think they were starting to get on Nicole a little too much.
Coach, your offense in the driver's seat right now, 2-1. What adjustments are you expecting them to make against Sophia Simpson?
I think what the 2nd inning felt a little bit better. I mean, they're just doing a really good job at the plate. We're just trying to be aggressive early, but swing at the right pitches. I think sometimes we're chasing things. So a little more discipline, but still staying aggressive early.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Texas is out-hitting the Sooners. They out-hit them last night 4-3, out-hitting them 2-1 in this one. But for Oklahoma, Alyssa Brito has gone yard for the 2nd straight game. Conversely, the Sooners have allowed their first home run in 12 contests. And here we go to start off the 4th inning. Coleman, Hansen, and Snow facing Sophia Simpson, who struck out 4, walked 1, and only allowed 1 earned, as well as 1 unearned. Swinging on the first pitch is Coleman, and Jefferson, a rare mistake in the field for Texas. That is now their 6th error of the series. 6 errors in 10 innings.
Yeah. Jada Coleman pulls this outside pitch, and as it goes, the spin just increases. You see Janae Jefferson having moved to her left, trying to play the hop, but that just spins up on her, giving the Sooners another leadoff base runner.
17th multi-error game of the season for Texas. Here's Kinsey Hansen, who's hit by a pitch in the 2nd. But Texas allowed 1 unearned run last night, 1 so far tonight.
Yeah, and that's where you talk about when you want to be competitive in games like this, and it is a competitive, close game, 1-run scoring affair between the 2 teams right now. But you can't continue to let OU turn the lineup over and get extra at-bats because of free bases, whether it's walks, errors, hit by pitch. You have to be able to attack the zone and make them earn everything.
1-1. Now to Hansen. Sophia Simpson has only given up 1 hit. That was a home run to Brito. 4 strikeouts and a walk. She has stepped up against big competition this year. Started her career on fire. Her first 3 starts. Very first one, struck out 9, allowed just 1 earned run in her debut against McNeese. That held UCLA to 2 earned. and then struck out 12 in a no-hitter against UTSA.
Sophia Simpson came out firing, came out ready to attack and make a name for herself in Division I college softball.
And trying to flip the script from last night, we saw a true freshman for Oklahoma going up against a senior transfer for Texas and Dolcini. Now it's Texas with the freshman, and Oklahoma rolling with the senior transfer Troutwine. Scott over to second for one, and that's all they get. Taylon Snow coming up for the Sooners.
Important lead out right there. Jada Coleman, again, we've mentioned it, pretty much the only threat for Oklahoma when you talk about speed on the base paths. Mia Scott able to retire her.
There is Snow, the senior from Chino Hills, California. Spent her first 2 years at Auburn, where she was a shortstop there, joined OU in 2020, and Patty Gasso said, listen, she has just been a terrific player we can put anywhere, first base, second base, in the outfield. They plug her in, and she plays well, hitting .438 on the season. Simpson unable to get to it. Jefferson scoops it up in time and gets the out. The senior recovering nicely over at second.
Janae Jefferson busy over there at second base today. OU pulling a lot of these low outside pitches that Sophia Simpson's offering, which allows or forces Janae Jefferson to be on the move laterally. But so far up to the task.
Here's Jenna Johns, one of the few hitters in the starting lineup, not batting above 400. Johns, an absolute rock defensively over at third base for the Sooners. He's already made a number of nice plays tonight for Oklahoma.
They call third base the hot corner for a reason, and when you have an athlete that can own third base the way Jana Johns can, you're going to find a way to keep her on the field at all times. And you can't really deny she's not shabby with the bat, she just gets overlooked with the offense that OU provides.
Runner moves on to third. Jefferson threw it away, but Hansen will stay on third.
Hansen gets a big lead, baits Mariah Copo, but Mariah Copo never makes Hansen make a decision, and as she comes up to throw, Hansen goes ahead and breaks for third. Janae Jefferson having to rush the throw. Texas benefiting the bounce back to Mia Scott so quickly.
So after the stolen base, officially by Hansen, she ends up coming home to score off the RBI single by Jana Johns.
Big hit right here by the senior Jana Johns, coming through with a runner in scoring position. Takes this pitch outside, but belt high right back up the middle at Sophia Simpson. But that extra 60 feet Kinsey Hansen was able to earn pays dividends for the Sooners right now.
And remember, the inning started off with an error, so that's an unearned run, another one. Second unearned run of the game by Oklahoma, their third of the series. Here's Riley Boone swinging at the first pitch. Smith reaches and tags her to end the frame of the inning.
I think he hit it on the head right there, Alex, is the fact that defensively they might be trying to do too much and make plays that aren't there at times. You know, Janae Jefferson did lead that inning off with an error, an unfortunate ball that spun up on her, but trying to force things to happen with base runners.
So Washington not forcing it. She has a hit now in 5 of her last 6 games. Texas has the leadoff hitter aboard for the second straight inning.
The key is right now for Texas, they get these leadoff runners on, being able to find a way to move them over and get them in. create some things back to back, even if it means you're sacrifice bunting, hit and run, but start to put some pressure on Oklahoma's defense.
And they had 3 batters reach in the last inning, and now Washington over at first, as that one misses today. Troutwine replacing Nicole May in the circle. Don't forget, last year Troutwine became the first pitcher in NCAA history to strike out every single batter in a 7-inning perfect game. 21 up, 21 down.
That's an impressive feat anytime a pitcher can accomplish it, but at the Division I softball level, that is so rare.
Through nearly 600 innings during her career with North Texas.
I want to know if somebody tried to bunt in the middle of that contest.
You would, right? You.
Well, that might be my only shot at touching a ball.
Coming out of the pen, Troutwine. 1 walk, 1 hit allowed. No strikeouts. Texas's only run of the night coming off a J.J. Smith home run in the 2nd inning. Day lifting one into foul territory. John circling around and making the grab. Sooners continue to look strong on defense. 1 away now for J.J. Smith. An emotional moment for the sophomore back in the 2nd inning with her team down by 1. Leaves the yard for the first time this season, much to the delight of her parents who are in attendance, and a few tears shed by the Smith family.
Her parents probably wishing they were down the right field line today instead of the left field line. Might have had a shot to take that souvenir home. But J.J. Smith seeing the ball well lately, so big at bat here for her.
See what she does for an encore. As her family looks on.
You see Dad coaching from left field. Tell her to box up the zone.
Always coaching, right?
Always happens.
Texas in this series so far, just 2 for 15 with runners on. What have you seen from Troutwine since she's come out of the bullpen?
Now, Troutwine throws with greater speed than Nicole May, which Coach Gasso hit on, and she's trying to use that to her advantage. However, she's not pounding the strike zone. She's getting deep in counts with Texas. They're seeing quite a few pitches, which is going to allow them to get timing. She doesn't throw an off speed very often.
Smith underneath that one. Snow is there. So a couple of foul balls results. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th inning, and now Bella Dayton coming up. Washington still over at first.
But what Troutwine is doing well is when she's behind in the count, hitters counts, she's able to throw a pitch that's spinning enough that Texas hasn't been able to put consecutive quality at bats together. You mentioned the 2 fly balls. Alyssa Washington gets a single, Courtney Day gets a fly out, J.J. Smith there, 2-0. Making sure if they're going to be aggressive, that it's a pitch Texas can hammer hard.
Texas in the series so far with 7 hits through the first 2 games. Oklahoma with just 5. 3 of those 5 have been home runs.
Home runs, and then 2 of the last 3 have been RBI singles up the middle. So Oklahoma making the most of the chances that they have been given. But again, we've talked about it. If you're Texas or any opponent right now playing Oklahoma with the way they put up runs, you cannot give them those opportunities.
(1-1) coming up to the transfer Dayton. And that misses. Troutwine with 1 walk to Mackenzie Parker in the 3rd inning. Gave up a leadoff single to Washington here in the 4th. Still has only allowed 1 earned run on the season. And now over 60 innings.
You see Troutwine trusting that rise ball, even in a 2-1 count, still staying up in the zone. Bella Dayton being aggressive that's where Texas and Coach White mentioned they're going to have to force Troutwine to stay down in the zone if they're going to have success.
Dayton settles in. 2-2 misses. Bella Dayton a couple of years ago in that shortened 2020 season hit .302 with 10 stolen bases. He's made a few highlight reel grabs in the outfield over the past few years, making the SportsCenter top 10 and hoping to come through in the clutch. At the plate here, but it's called strike 3 to end the inning. Troutwine, after giving up a leadoff single, strands Washington at first and finishes off the horns here in the fourth with her first strikeout.
But really, if you're Oklahoma and you get that power out of your 9-hole, it sets everything up for your offense.
Brito, the former Mike White recruit at Oregon. Last year hit .299 with the Ducks, an all Pac-12 shortstop. Entered the portal. She said she didn't know where she was going to go. She said she was actually surprised to hear from Patty Gasso. But Oklahoma said, listen, we're looking for a utility player and we're looking for one who has power. And she fit the bill. Switched from the infield to the outfield this year with the Sooners.
When I think that's going to be the question as an athlete you ask yourself. Here she was, an all Pac-12 infielder. Are you willing to make the switch to now play outfield for a year, 2, maybe even all 3 that you have left in order to be part of this program and this offense? Sometimes athletes want to stick with their position, but Brito obviously coming in, filling in the outfield. You mentioned Taylon Snow, same thing. You know, an infielder, middle infielder for Auburn, but now playing first base and filling in again wherever Oklahoma needs her to when the time comes.
Brito drills this one, and she's done it again! Third home run of the series, second of the night.
Alyssa Brito single-handedly beating Texas right now for Oklahoma. This a changeup again, belt high over the middle of the plate. Good hitters are going to be able to hit that part of the zone routinely, consistently if you keep throwing it there. Texas unable to make an adjustment and get Alyssa Brito out.
This is unreal. In this series, Oklahoma only has 6 hits. 4 of them are home runs. Here's Tiare Jennings at the top.
Well, again, Alex, you talk about having a plan, whether you're looking inside, outside, forcing a pitcher to stay down in the zone, maybe sitting on the changeup depending on the count. The difference is that when Oklahoma attacks pitches, they attack them hard with power. They're able to leave the yard routinely because of how aggressively they swing.
Sophia Simpson has only given up 3 hits on the night through 4 innings. But 2 of those are home runs and also 2 unearned runs tacked onto her total of 2 earned, and Texas now down by 3 to the undefeated Sooners. Simpson now behind 3-0. Well, that has to be demoralizing for the freshman.
When you give up 3 hits and 2 of those are home runs, and Haley Dolcini did the same thing last night, you have to pose the question of how can we be better to where those hits don't leave the yard. But the difference that we've seen, Sophia Simpson gives up the home run, comes back, is 3-0 now on Tiare Jennings. Flipped the script last night. Jordy Ball gave up back-to-back hits. Texas was threatening to possibly come within 1. And instead of backing down and getting 3-0, she went right at the next 3 hitters, caved the side to end the inning. That's the mindset you have to have, is the fact that Oklahoma's going to get their runs, they're going to get their hits. You have to minimize it, and you have to go be able to punch back after they go ahead and score.
And issues a walk to Jennings. Well, after that phenomenal start, remember, Sophia Simpson struck out the side in the first inning. But since then, she only has 1 strikeout the rest of the way.
Well, and Oklahoma is an offense that once you show them your stuff, they're going to make adjustments. So the fact that the number of strikeouts decreases is not alarming. However, she's going to have to continue to attack the zone early, because you can't work from behind against an offense like Oklahoma. When you put them in counts where they can get comfortable to swing and they can afford to swing and miss, they're going to be able to capitalize.
Estelle Czech warming up in the Texas bullpen. In case she is needed, we saw Dolcini get the start last night. Pitched a heck of a performance, 120 pitches. But suffering the loss. Simpson now up to 63 pitches. Coming up, here's Jocelyn Alo. 0 for 2 with a strikeout. 3 strikeouts in the series for the senior slugger. And will this be it for Simpson?
This might be it. Coach White going out to talk to her. But as fans, it's always exciting as well. And OU always travels to Austin in abundance. And I can only speak from back in the day, but we had a decent fan base that traveled with us up to Norman as well.
So Simpson stays in the game. Jennings over at first. The 1-0 to Alo. And again, the freshman misses. Texas has not beaten Oklahoma since 2014. 22 consecutive losses, and Oklahoma holds the all-time series lead at 49 wins and 24 losses. Alo drills one to left center. That one is off the top of the wall. Jennings will end up on third. Runners on the corners for the Sooners. Still no outs here in the 5th.
Sophia Simpson gets behind Jocelyn Alo, and if you're Alo in this situation, you can split the plate, stay one side, guess which side Simpson's going to go to. She stays with this low inside pitch off the wall. Great read by Jennings to get to third base. Jocelyn Alo with her first hit of the series.
Pinch runner taking over for Alo at first, Grace Green. And now keep in mind, how much longer does Texas stick with Simpson? She has allowed the first 3 batters in this inning to reach, and allowed an RBI single towards the end of the last inning, and that may be it for the freshman. Has hit some bumps in the road, allowing 15 earned runs over her last 13 innings, and she comes into a tough spot. Runners on the corners, no outs, and the heart of the order here, Grace Lyons in the 3 spot. Lyons drove in a run last night with an RBI single. Lays down the bunt, Czech charging in, and has absolutely nowhere to go. Another Sooners run comes in, and it's 5-1 Oklahoma.
Oklahoma taking every opportunity they can to extend the lead. Grace Lyons puts down a great bunt. Czech doesn't have a play at home, but no one covering first, so you can't even get the first out of the inning. Again, Texas defense not being on their toes, allowing Oklahoma to continue to create opportunities.
Well, against a team like this, you have to play perfect ball. And that just hasn't been the case so far this weekend.
Yeah, and if it has to be pretty dang close to perfect if you're not perfect.
Jada Coleman lays down the bunt. Scott over to first, not in time. Texas has to be careful right here. This one's going to get away from them. The Sooners already with 2 runs in this inning. They have now scored in 4 straight innings. Bases loaded, still no outs.
Jada Scott using her bunt, or Jada Coleman, excuse me, using her bunt, able to beat that down. She gets a great hop right here, but Mia Scott cannot continue to field bunts and run through it to where you're going into the baseline. She has to be able to field and cut across to make those throws. But Oklahoma doing what Texas hasn't done, and that's testing defense and for creating opportunities for themselves.
Here comes Kinsey Hansen, the 2nd-team All-American. And that one misses. Hansen on the year hitting .333. but batting .474 with runners in scoring position.
And here's where I'm going to challenge a thought process a little bit, Alex. Oklahoma averages 9.8 runs a game. They're up by 3, but yet they're still using small ball and making things happen. Texas got a leadoff runner on, and they did nothing to create action for themselves. Oklahoma, not too good to create action. They're forcing things to happen, which is why they put up the numbers that they do, because they don't sit and just rely on long balls. Sure, they've hit 103 of them this year, but they also do the small things right, and that's why they're able to bust open games.
It's a great point. That's why they're up by 4, bases loaded. No outs. Hansen facing the 1-1 count. Kinzie Hansen first joined the Sooners when she was just 17 years old and hit .413 as a freshman. 24 home runs a season ago. Battled through injuries this year. Left the yard 6 times. And a chance to absolutely break this one open here. Swing and a miss. Chased it upstairs. Out number 1 for Estelle Czech.
Big first out for Estelle Czech here, getting ahead in the count and then stretching the zone up. Kinzie Hansen going ahead and chasing that rise ball, trying to drive in a few Sooner runs, but Estelle Czech getting the best of her.
And Patty Gasso goes to the bench, bringing in pinch hitter Lindsey Elam, the 3-year captain, the senior leader. Struck out in her lone pinch hit appearance last night, but is having a great year at the plate. 1 home run shy of her single season high, which she set a year ago. Went yard twice against the Longhorns last season. Swings at the first one and drives it foul.
Elam being aggressive, as Coach Gasso said she wants to see her offense do. Estelle Czech working ahead, but have to imagine Coach Gasso went this matchup because it takes the lefty-lefty matchup with Taylon Snow out of the picture for Estelle Czech. Plus Elam, a little more power than Snow.
Well, for the longest time, Texas was out hitting Oklahoma in this game. That is ancient history. Sooners now with 6 hits compared to Texas's 3.
And really able to do it by using small ball, by forcing pressure on Texas's defense, able to get themselves some hits.
Elam drives one to left field. Dayton reaches up, makes the grab. Too shallow for the runners to advance, so 2 away, bases still loaded. Estelle Czech trying to work her way out of a massive jam. Here comes Jana Johns with 2 outs.
It's unfortunate. Estelle Czech came in, did what she was supposed to do, threw strikes. OU just combated that by playing small ball and forcing Texas to have to try to make some big plays. But if Estelle Czech's able to retire Johns here, it's a big momentum shift, at least for Texas in the time being.
Johns drove in a run with an RBI single in the 4th inning. She's been clutch this year. A .417 hitter with 2 outs. One and one. Career .299 hitter. Mentioned how great of a fielder she's been throughout her tenure, going all the way back to her time at South Carolina when she was a freshman. Set the South Carolina record for fielding percentage by a third baseman, 98%. That has carried over to her time at Oklahoma, but now trying to get it done with the bat. She came through in the 4th inning. Can she do it again here in the 5th? Two and one.
Estelle Czech trying to use her off speed, just missing a low just a little bit. You can see John's timing off with it, but it's not staying in the air long enough for her to offer at it.
crowd even up. Tense atmosphere right now at a sold-out McCombs Field. Big moment for Estelle Czech. And Texas, Oklahoma has scored twice in this inning. They had the bases loaded with no outs. It's now bases loaded with 2 outs and a 2-2 count to Jana Johns. And it goes to a full count as the pressure continues to build here in Austin.
The difference now is with a full count, every hitter, or every runner, excuse me, is going to be on the move. Texas outfield already playing deep to respect the power that Oklahoma has. Still Czech going to have to give a good offering.
Payoff pitch, and it misses. Czech walks in a run. 6-1 Sooners. Nearly got out of it. The inning continues. Bases loaded again. Well, you certainly have to be careful throughout this entire Oklahoma lineup. But after Riley Boone, if they can continue the inning, Oklahoma, they're going to have Elisa Brito coming up after Boone. And we know what she's done. But first, here's the junior from Owasso, Oklahoma. Check misses there. Ball 1.
Czech gonna need to settle down, attack the strike zone, force Boone to stay through a pitch. Pretty backdoor curve right there. That's a pitch, to be honest, I wish I would see Estelle Czech use more often, especially against righties. If you can space that on the outer part of the plate, a lot of times you can get hitters reaching, get a flare into right field for an out.
Boone. That's a base knock to right field. 1 run comes home. Here is a second, and the Sooners' big inning continue. They break this one open. 8-1 Oklahoma.
This pitch, a curveball just over the middle of the plate. Boone able to pull it into the 3-4 hole. Janae Jefferson shifted up the middle. But with Texas outfield playing as deep as they are, that's an easy 2 runs for Oklahoma. They extend their lead to 7.
Keep in mind the Sooners entering run rule territory. Texas will have a chance to come up to bat no matter what in the bottom of the 5th inning, but 1 more run will put OU up by 8. And here is Alyssa Brito, who's been the best hitter in this series for either team. 2 for 2 tonight. This is back in the 3rd inning. A solo shot off Sophia Simpson. That was after she homered once last night. And then this is earlier in this very inning. She does it again. 3 home runs in the series. And has just been a crucial performer for the Sooners so far in this matchup.
Yeah, she's the hottest hitter in this series for sure.
And drives in another. Alyssa Brito, unreal. Papelka bobbles it. And it's runners on the corners, but more importantly, Oklahoma in run rule territory, now up by 8. Alyssa Brito, have yourself a night.
Estelle Czech, a curveball inside. Brito off the plate, able to stay up the middle with it. Texas does not have an answer for Alyssa Brito so far in this series.
Of all the names we talked about going into this series, who would have thought?
Yeah, not that she should be overlooked. I mean, obviously hitting close to 350 on the season, but again, with the numbers that Oklahoma puts up, you have Jocelyn Allo, who set the home run record. Not the hitter that we thought would be the hottest hitter for Oklahoma in this series, but Brito making the most of every at-bat.
The former Oregon Duck. Now 3 for 3 tonight. Her mom is loving this one. Parents taking in a Sooners rout at this point. 9-1, 6 Oklahoma runs coming in this inning alone. They have obviously batted around. Thierry Jennings coming back up again. She walked earlier in the frame. There's a diving grab made by Washington. And the inning mercifully comes to an end.
Opportunities, but Oklahoma, knowing what they were getting when she transferred in from Oregon, such a great hitter to have down there in the bottom of your lineup, turning the lineup over. But again, not the highlight that you expected coming into this series.
The game summary brought to you by thezebra.com, heavily in favor of Oklahoma. And the Sooners now have Texas down to their last 3 outs. By the way, this is an all-time record attendance tonight at McCombs Field. 1,687 fans taking this one in. It was close early. Scoreless after 1. Tied at 1 after 2. And still heading into the 5th inning. It was just a 3-1 game, that's it. But of course, the Sooners scored 6 in the top half of the 5th. And in search of run rule victory number 31 on the year. Alyssa Popelka watches the count go 1-2. For Texas, 1 run off 3 hits, 2 costly errors. 2 unearned runs allowed by Texas. For Oklahoma, 9 runs, 8 hits, and no errors. Popelka. Texas down to their last 2 outs.
When we talk about that 6th run top of the 5th, Alex, and Brito started it with a home run, but after that, everything was singles. Oklahoma just passed the bat one at a time, being able to continue their hot hitting, letting that momentum carry down from hitter to hitter. It wasn't all flashy power. They played some short game and just was able to create offensive opportunities for themselves.
Oklahoma, by the way, with 0 errors in the field in 2 games. And that was, according to Patty Gasso, their weakness coming into this series.
Yeah, Coach Gasso talking about, not that they're bad defensively, but they just haven't been as strong as they were in years past. But so far up to the challenge against Texas.
Janae Jefferson gets hit. Hands on the hips, tries to shake that one off. She does. Runner aboard. Jefferson reaches for the 2nd time tonight. Well, if Jefferson can come around to score, the game will continue.
Yeah, if Jefferson can find her way home, Texas will extend this to the 6th inning. The interesting part of that hit by pitch to me was the pitch right before that just barely missed Jefferson. So Trautwein really trying to get it in there, but actually missing the opposite way after ball 1.
Well, time is called right now. You saw Dustin Douglas come out from behind the plate, converse with Brandon Bloom and Keith Kearney.
Steve Singleton came out of the dugout and had a conversation with the home plate umpire. And again, like I said, that first pitch of the at-bat just barely missed Jefferson, and the next one squared her up in the back.
Trautwein has hit 8 batters this year, most on the team.
And that just squares her up fair and square, but you see the home plate umpire jumping out right behind Jefferson as well. From up here, we can't always tell what's going on in the field. Who knows if there's been some chirping or not.
Between these 2 teams? Play
Between
resumes.
Teams and fans, there's always some interesting comments.
Jefferson over at first, 1 away. Mia Scott 0 for 2 tonight. Went 1 for 3 last night with a double.
I think my favorite fan comment ever was a 9 or 10-year-old when we were in Norman told our center fielder he had seen a better arm on a chair.
Scott lays down the bunt. Hesitation by the Oklahoma defense cost them 2 aboard for Texas.
We've been talking about it all series, Alex. Texas trying to test Oklahoma's defense. Finally, a short game execution. Mia Scott puts the bunt down between Trotwine and Johns. Nobody going for the ball. Again, Texas now 2 base runners on. Trying to look to extend this for at least one more inning.
Yeah, down by 8. Here's Mackenzie Parker. She has walked twice. Texas with 1 run off 4 hits against Trotwine and Nicole May, member who started the game. One and one. Texas looking to avoid dropping to 4-9 against ranked teams. And losing 23 straight to Oklahoma. Swing and a miss. Parker chased it.
The biggest difference to me, Alex, is with runners on, runners in scoring position, Oklahoma stays calm in the box. They weren't chasing things necessarily out of the zone. Kinsey Hansen had the strikeout on a rise ball, but there's not back-to-back at-bats that aren't quality. Texas, on the other hand, pressing with runners in scoring position and on, getting big swings on pitches that you can't handle.
Well, this marks now the 6th time this year Texas has faced one of the top 20 winningest pitchers in the nation. And they haven't scored more than 3 earned in any of those games. They have just 1 run tonight, needing a run to extend this ball game. And missed well outside.
Texas is doing a good job of forcing Trotwine to stay on the plate. Now the key is to force her to stay down in the zone and quit swinging at that rise ball. But we heard Coach White say that when they made the switch. He knew that was what his offense was going to have to do.
Well, all of a sudden, you go from Oklahoma 2 outs away from run-ruling Texas to Oklahoma 1 ball away from loading the bases. Mary Iacopo on deck.
These are the opportunities where the momentum can be shifted so quickly with 1 pitch. Mackenzie Parker working a full count really needs to figure out how to win this at bat.
Parker hitting .320 on the year. It's been tremendous since moving into that DP role. 5 homers, 7 doubles. Awaits the 3-2 from Trotwine. And she has earned her 3rd walk of the contest. And Texas has the bases loaded from Mary Iacopo. Kinsey Hansen will head out to the circle to chat with Trotwine.
That's a huge at bat right there for Mackenzie Parker. Getting down in the count early, able to earn the walk, load the bases. All Mary Iacopo has to do is find a way to leave the infield, and Texas can extend this game into the 6th inning. But Texas having good at-bats against Trotwine this inning so far. But Coach Rocha also out there to settle her senior down and talk about this environment and how this is going to character build and what she wants to see from her.
You can see the calming presence she's having as Trotwine exhales. They were laughing moments ago. Again, Hope Trotwine came in with the #1 ERA in the nation, still has only allowed 1 earned run all year. A few last words with Kinsey Hansen. So here comes Mary Iacopo, 0 for 4 in the series. 2 for 3 on the year with the bases loaded. Again, Texas needing at least 1 run to keep from being run ruled. Iacopo grounded out in the first, lined out in the third. Troutwine misses, ball one.
Iacopo off the plate a little bit more than normal right now, giving herself some space as Troutwine has been using that rise ball and actually kind of backdoors curveball, screwball combo looking down in the zone.
Time is called. Iacopo sitting on 39 home runs as a Longhorn, third most in Texas history, and 47 for her career, going back to her time with Oregon. There we go. 1-0 roped foul.
Iacopo being aggressive in a hitter's count.
Jefferson over at third. She was hit by a pitch. Scott singled. Parker walked. Texas has had runners on in this game and throughout the entire series. They've only scored once in 2 games. Looking for more here with 2 outs, with 1 out in the 5th. Iacopo lines out, and there's your ball game. Sooners take game 2, 9-1, just like that. Texas's struggles continue with runners on, and the #1 team in the nation remains undefeated, moving to 38-0 on the year.